Damian caught the mop handle before it crashed, the bucket jolting and splashing as a security man lunged toward the little boy clinging to Amara's skirt. Damian stepped in, shoulders squared, and said, "He stays. And she stays." Then turned to Amara with eyes that looked haunted and added, "I don't know why, but I can't watch you walk away again." Hello, family, and welcome to Fiction Stories TV. If you love deeply emotional stories about love, loss, and unexpected reunions, please subscribe to our channel, like this video, and share it with someone you care about. Don't forget to turn on your notifications so you never miss a new story from us. Your support truly means everything. Now, sit back, relax, and let's dive in. Amara Nwasu forced her voice steady even as her heart raced. "My sitter canceled. I'll keep him quiet. I just need to finish my shift." Eli squeezed her hand, trying to be brave. "I won't disturb anyone, sir." Damian's gaze softened at the child, then returned to Amara like he was searching for a name on her face. "No one will touch your job," he said. "If they have a problem, they come to me." Amara nodded fast, because hope could drown a person if they stared at it too long. She led Eli toward the supply closet, and Damian watched them go with an ache he'd carried for 3 years. He had spent months searching for the masked woman who had made him feel human for one night, and when the trail went cold, he told himself he would forget. He never did. Amara didn't know his name then. She didn't know his money now. All she knew was that his voice scraped at a locked door in her memory, and she hated herself for feeling it. 3 years earlier, she had taken a last-minute catering shift at the Grand Oralia Hotel because rent didn't care about dignity. At the staff entrance, her supervisor shoved a tray into her hands and pressed a cheap mask against her palm. "VIP floor," the woman warned. "No chatting, no flirting. You serve and you disappear, understood?" Amara nodded. The mask smelled like plastic and somebody else's perfume. She fitted it to her face and told herself she was nobody tonight. Nobody couldn't get hurt. The ballroom glittered with crystal lights and effortless laughter. Amara moved between tables, offering champagne to people who barely glanced at her. She learned to swallow embarrassment the way she swallowed hunger, quietly, quickly, and alone. Across the room, Damian Kingsley stood beside his mother and Celeste Vance, the woman the world already called his future wife. Cameras flashed whenever he shifted. His smile was perfect and empty. Mrs. Kingsley leaned close, still smiling for the room. "You will do the announcement," she murmured. "The board wants stability." Damian's jaw tightened. "Mother, I'm not a product." "You're a Kingsley," she replied, voice like velvet over steel. "Act like it." Celeste's hand tightened on his arm. "After tonight, the rumors end," she said sweetly. "We'll be official." Official? Damian looked toward the stage where a microphone waited like a verdict, and panic rose so fast it tasted metallic. He slipped his arm free. "I need air," he said, and walked away before his mother could stop him. He pushed through a side door into the garden terrace where the air was cool and damp, a fountain whispering in the dark. He loosened his tie like it was strangling him, breathing like he'd been underwater. He wasn't alone. Amara stood near the fountain, shoulders hunched, one hand pressed to the stone as if it held her together. When she noticed him, she startled, already stepping back. "I'm sorry," she blurted. "I'll go, I was just—" "Don't," Damian said too quickly. He softened it at once. "You're not in trouble." Amara hesitated, suspicion and exhaustion mixing behind her mask. "I'm not supposed to talk to guests." Damian let out a low breath, almost a laugh. "Then don't talk to me like I'm a guest." Silence stretched. Inside, applause rose and fell like distant thunder. Damian stared at the city lights beyond the railing and heard his own voice come out rough. "Do you ever feel like you're wearing a life that doesn't fit?" Amara's answer escaped before she could protect it. "Every day." He turned toward her. "What do you do with that feeling?" "You swallow it," she said, the words bitter but honest. "You work, you pretend you're fine, because if you don't, you fall apart." Something in Damian cracked open. "You sound like you've been strong for too long," he murmured. Amara's laugh trembled. "People don't choose strength. Life chooses it for them." Damian's phone buzzed again in his pocket, insistent. He didn't check it. "I don't want to go back," he admitted, like saying it out loud might make it real. Amara looked at him, and for a second her voice softened into something reckless. "Then for one night," she whispered, "don't." Damian stepped closer, caught between fear and freedom. "I don't even know your name." "Then don't ask," Amara said, heart pounding. "Let us be strangers, it's safer that way." Damian's gaze dropped to her lips, then lifted to her eyes behind the mask. "Tell me to stop," he murmured. Amara swallowed, shaking, and chose the truth she'd never allow herself again. "Don't." Their kiss didn't feel like a party mistake. It felt like two exhausted souls grabbing air. When they parted, Amara's chest rose fast and Damian's forehead rested against hers, needing the contact to stay real. From inside, a voice boomed through speakers, calling Damian's name. He flinched. "They're looking for you," Amara whispered. "I can't go," he said. Amara glanced at the staff door, then back at him. "Come, before they trap you." He took her hand, and she pulled him into the corridor where the music dulled, and their footsteps became a secret that neither of them understood. Amara dragged Damian through the service corridor, her heart punching her ribs. Two security men swung into view, radios buzzing. "Hey," one snapped. "Restricted area." Amara planted herself between them and Damian. "VIP request," she lied, voice steady even as her hands shook. He needed a shortcut back to the terrace. The guard frowned. "We didn't." "Damian," a woman's voice cut in, sharp as glass. Damian's mother appeared at the far end, Celeste beside her, both dressed like power. Damian went rigid. Amara's mind screamed one thing: if they unmask her, she's done. So she did the wildest thing she could think of. She grabbed Damian's face and kissed him. The guards turned away, embarrassed. Mrs. Kingsley stopped mid-step, shock flashing across her perfect smile. Celeste stared like she'd just seen betrayal. Damian blinked once, then kissed Amara back, strong, grateful, real. When he pulled away, he whispered, "Walk, don't run." Amara exhaled through her teeth. "Keep your head down." They moved past the guards. Celeste called, "Damian." Mrs. Kingsley's voice followed, colder. "Damian Kingsley." He didn't look back. His hand slid to Amara's waist, steadying them both. The staff door slammed behind them, and the night air hit like freedom. Damian stared at her, breathless. "You just saved me." "Don't talk," Amara warned, scanning the driveway. "If anyone followed." "I'm not laughing," he said quickly. I'm shocked. No one risks anything for me." Amara's throat tightened. "Don't make me regret it." He stepped closer, rain misting his hair. "Tell me your name." "No," the answer came too fast. "No names." Damian flinched like it hurt. "Then tell me what you want." Amara's eyes flicked to the glittering hotel behind them, the life she could never enter. "Quiet," she said. "Just for a few hours." Damian nodded. "Okay." In the taxi, the silence lasted 3 blocks before Damian spoke again. "You're shaking." "I'm fine." "You're not," he said, then softer. "I'm not either." Amara glanced at him. "Because of your engagement." His jaw tightened. "Because my life is a contract. Tonight they wanted to announce it like I was property." Amara's mouth went dry. "So I'm your rebellion." "No," he said sharply, then gentler. "You're my relief. When you talked to me in that garden, I could breathe." Amara looked away, angry at how those words warmed her. "Don't say things that make me forget reality." Damian leaned forward, voice low. "What is your reality?" Amara swallowed. "Bills, hunger, work, smiling so people don't see you're breaking." For a second, Damian's eyes softened with something that looked like shame. "I'm sorry." She almost laughed. "Sorry won't pay rent." Damian reached for his wallet, then stopped. "If I offer help, will you hate me?" Amara's laugh came out. "I won't hate you. I'll hate myself for needing it." "I know," he said, and it sounded like he meant it. They stopped at a smaller hotel across town. Damian paid without giving his name. In the elevator, Amara's fingers hovered at the ribbon of her mask. "This is a mistake," she whispered. Damian held her gaze. Tell me to stop. I should. She admitted, breath shaking. But you won't, he said, voice rough. No names, Amara repeated like a prayer. No names, Damian agreed. Just tonight. Inside the room, Amara stayed near the door, still masked. If you ruin me, I won't survive it, she said, forcing the warning out. Damian lifted his hands, palms open. I won't ruin you, he promised. I swear. Amara's voice cracked. People always swear. He stepped closer, careful, like he didn't want to scare her. Then let me earn it, he whispered, just by being gentle. That gentleness broke her defenses more than money ever could. When he kissed her, it was slow, like he was asking permission with every breath. They spoke between touches, about fear, about being trapped, about the ache of pretending. Amara didn't tell him her name. Damian didn't ask again. For one night, they belonged to nothing but the quiet. Near dawn, Damian fell asleep with his arm around her. Amara lay awake, staring at the ceiling, hatting how safe she felt, hatting how much she wanted to stay. Then she sat up, suddenly cold. Her mask was gone. Amara searched the chair, the sheets, the bathroom sink. Nothing. Panic surged. Outside, footsteps and low voices passed their door. A knock sounded somewhere down the hall. Her chest tightened. If anyone opened this door and saw her face, her life would be over. She grabbed her uniform and shoved her feet into her shoes, wincing at the blisters. Her gaze jumped to the nightstand. Damian's phone had been there. It was gone too. Please, she breathed, hands shaking. Damian stirred, blinking awake. Hey, what's wrong? Amara swallowed her tears. I have to go. He pushed up, confused, turning urgent. Wait, at least. No names, she reminded him, voice breaking. That was the deal. Damian's face tightened. Then let me see you, he pleaded. Just once, I won't chase you. I need to know you were real. Amara wanted to. God, she wanted to. But the missing mask screamed danger, and survival always won. I'm sorry, she whispered and ran. The door clicked shut behind her. In the hallway, she didn't stop until the elevator swallowed her. Damian stumbled to the nightstand. My phone, he muttered, then louder, panic climbing. My phone. He searched his pockets, the bed, the bathroom. Nothing. He rushed into the hall barefoot, scanning only empty carpet and an elevator light blinking shut. By the time he hit the lobby, she was gone. Damian stood there, chest heaving, staring at the revolving door like it had stolen something holy. I'll find you, he said, voice shaking. I don't care how long it takes. If you're feeling that heartbreak already, like this video, comment what you think happened to the missing mask and the phone, and subscribe to Fiction Stories TV, because what comes next will change both their lives forever. Amara didn't breathe properly until she reached the staff bus stop, her uniform damp with sweat and dawn chill. Her fingers kept touching her bare face, as if the missing mask had peeled her skin off with it. She sat on the curb, forcing her tears back, because crying in public always attracted the wrong kind of attention. Her phone was a cracked thing with barely any credit, and even if she wanted to call anyone, she didn't know who to call. She didn't know his name. She didn't know his world. She only knew his voice, and the way he had looked at her like she was not invisible. 2 days later, she returned to the catering office to ask questions without exposing herself. That charity ball, she said carefully to her supervisor. The man I served outside, do you know who he was? The supervisor scoffed. You think we get names? Those people float above us. Don't be foolish. Do your job and move on. Move on. Like her heart hadn't been held for one night and then dropped. She tried to move on. She really did. She picked up extra shifts. She cut her meals into smaller portions. She ignored the strange dizziness that came in the mornings. But the body had its own truth, and one afternoon, while scrubbing dishes behind a restaurant, the world tilted. Amara gripped the sink, swallowed hard, and whispered, No, not now. Her friend, Sade, noticed her gray face and dragged her to a pharmacy. The pregnancy test strip stared back at her like a sentence. Amara's knees buckled. This can't be, she whispered, her voice breaking. It can't. Sade caught her. Amara breathed. Look at me, it's not the end. It is, Amara snapped, tears spilling anyway. I'm already barely surviving. How do I raise a child? How do I raise a child when I can't even raise myself? Said's eyes softened. Who is the father? Amara laughed, the sound sharp with pain. A stranger. A stranger, Said repeated, stunned. A stranger in a mask, Amara said, wiping her face with shaking hands. One night, no names. Said stared at her like she wanted to yell, then like she wanted to hold her. Do you know how dangerous that is? I know, Amara whispered. That's why I can't even find him. Said leaned in. Try. Amara did. For weeks, she tried. She returned to the Grand Oralia from the outside like a ghost, watching cars glide in, watching women in gowns step out laughing like life couldn't touch them. She asked security if they remembered a charity event from years ago. They waved her off. She tried searching online for masked charity ball Grand Oralia engagement announcement. But everything was polished headlines, not names of the people who disappeared into corridors. She even attended a different charity event nearby. Hopping fate would be kind twice. It was. When her belly began to show, reality stepped on her dreams with heavy boots. Her landlord knocked one evening, face hard. Rent. I'll pay, Amara pleaded. Next week, I'm expecting a big. No stories, the man snapped. His eyes flicked to her stomach with disgust. You women like shame. If you can't pay, pack. After he left, Amara sat on her mattress and pressed both hands to her belly. I'm sorry, she whispered to the baby, tears dropping onto her fingers. I didn't plan this. I didn't plan you. But I won't abandon you. That promise became her religion. She worked until her body refused. She scrubbed floors while her back screamed. She walked home at midnight with fear in her throat and pride in her spine. When she finally went into labor, it was in a public clinic with peeling paint, and she screamed into her own palm to keep from disturbing other women. When the baby's cry filled the room, something inside her shattered and healed at the same time. It's a boy, the nurse said, placing him against her chest. Amara stared at his tiny face, stunned by how much love could fit in something so small. Hi, she whispered, voice trembling. Hi, my baby. Said leaned over her shoulder, crying too. He's beautiful. Amara kissed the baby's forehead and whispered, Eli, because she needed him to be her rising, her reason, her proof that she could survive anything. The early years were not soft. They were sharp. Eli got fevers that kept Amara awake for nights, praying until her throat burned. She took jobs that broke her hands and still smiled because Eli needed a mother who looked unafraid. Sometimes she stood in markets selling small things. Sometimes she cleaned houses where women looked at her like pity was a favor. One day, while mopping a wealthy woman's kitchen, Eli toddled into the living room and touched a framed family photo. The woman snapped, Don't let your child touch my things. Amara swallowed her anger. He's just curious. Curious, the woman scoffed. Single mothers raise children who don't know boundaries. Amara's chest tightened. She picked Eli up, held him close, and whispered into his hair, We are not less. Don't ever believe that. That night, Eli looked up at her with big eyes. Mama, where is my daddy? The question hit like a slap. Amara forced a smile that nearly broke her face. Your daddy is in heaven, she lied, because the truth was too complicated for a child and too painful for her mouth. Eli frowned. Did he love me? Amara's eyes stung. Yes, she whispered. If he knew you, he would. Across the city, Damian Kingsley sat in a glass office that looked like power and felt like a cage. He held his recovered phone in his hand months after the night, staring at the blank screen like it could answer him. The hotel had eventually found it lodged behind a bedside drawer during renovations and returned it through an assistant. But the woman was gone. The only proof she existed was the memory of her voice and the emptiness she left behind. He did what he could. He paid private investigators. He demanded staff lists. He asked the catering company for records. Nothing. Masks had made everyone anonymous. The hotel's security footage from that corridor was suddenly corrupted, and Damian didn't believe in coincidences. When he asked too many questions, his mother called him into her lounge, calm and lethal. Let it go, Mrs. Kingsley said. Damian's eyes narrowed. You know something. His mother sipped tea. What I know is that you embarrassed this family. You disappeared on an important night. I didn't disappear, Damian snapped. I escaped. You're not a child, she replied. You're an heir. Your feelings are not more important than the company. Damian's voice dropped. I'm not marrying Celeste. Mrs. Kingsley's smile didn't reach her eyes. You will marry her, or you will lose the board's support. You think love will protect you in a world like ours. Damian stood, hands clenched. I don't even want love, I just want truth. His mother's gaze hardened. Truth is expensive, and you're wasting time. Celeste's pressure became louder. She began appearing at his office unannounced, leaving lipstick on his coffee cup like a claim. You've been distant, she purred one night at a gala. Is it still that girl? Damian's eyes went cold. Don't. Celeste smiled anyway. A masked waitress, how poetic, you'll get over it. He didn't. He buried it under work until his chest felt like stone. But sometimes at night, he remembered the way she said, every day, when he asked if her life fit, and it made him want to tear down every wall his world had built around him. 3 years later, Kingsley Holdings moved into a new headquarters, a tower of steel and glass that cut into the skyline like a crown. On the morning Amara got hired as a cleaner there, she held Eli's hand and whispered, This job is stability. You hear me? No matter what happens, we stay respectful. We stay invisible. Eli nodded like he understood, though his eyes were curious, scanning the shining lobby. It's big, Mama. It's not for us to admire, Amara murmured, adjusting his small backpack. Then the elevator doors opened, and Damian stepped out with executives around him, talking numbers like they were oxygen. His eyes swept the lobby, bored, until they landed on Amara kneeling to fix Eli's collar. Eli looked up at him, unafraid. Amara looked up too, and the world shifted under her feet. Damian stopped walking. For a heartbeat, everything went silent except the echo of a fountain in his memory and a woman's voice saying, Let us be strangers. It's safer that way. Amara's stomach tightened with a strange, familiar panic. Damian took one step toward her, and his voice came out low, almost broken. Excuse me, he said, staring at her like he'd been searching without knowing what to call it. What's your name? Excuse me, Damian said again, voice lower now, like he was afraid she would vanish if he spoke too loud. What's your name? Amara's throat closed. 3 years crashed into her at once. The garden, the rain, the way he had whispered, tell me to stop. She wanted to run. She forced her face into calm. Amara, she said, keeping it simple, because lies grew teeth when you fed them too much. Damian repeated it like he was tasting it. Amara. Eli peeked from behind her legs, bold in a way only children could be. Good morning, sir. Damian's eyes dropped to the boy and softened. Good morning, he replied, then looked back at Amara. Is he your son? Amara's fingers tightened around the mop handle. Yes. He's here with you. Damian glanced toward the security man who was still hovering like a threat. My sitter canceled, Amara said quickly. I'll keep him quiet, I just need this job. Damian's gaze flicked to the guard. You, he said calmly, go back to your post. The guard hesitated. Sir, company policy. I am the policy, Damian cut in, and the guard retreated at once. Amara swallowed. Thank you, she said, but gratitude tasted dangerous. We'll stay out of the way. Damian stepped closer, and the men around him shifted uncomfortably, as if love was an embarrassing thing in a building built on profit. Don't hide, he said. Not here. Amara forced a small smile. It's easy for some people. Damian's jaw tightened like he'd been slapped by truth. I'll see you around, Amara, he said, then walked off, but his eyes kept turning back, like a magnet had found its metal. For the rest of the morning, Amara worked with her heart loud in her ears. Eli sat on a folded cloth near the supply room, drawing quietly. Twice, Damian's assistant appeared with a small bag of snacks and juice. From Mr. Kingsley, the assistant said, careful. Amara frowned. Tell him we're fine." The assistant hesitated. "He said you would say that. He said I should leave it anyway." When the assistant left, Eli grabbed the juice happily. "Mama, he's kind." Amara stared across the lobby where Damian had disappeared. "Kind men can still break you," she murmured. That evening, Damian stepped out of the elevator alone and caught Amara wiping down the glass doors. "You're still here," he said. "I'm always here," she replied, not looking at him. "That's not what I meant." His voice softened. "Do you eat?" Amara's laugh came out dry. "Sir, are you asking to buy me food?" Damian flinched. "No, I'm asking if you're okay." Amara finally looked at him, and the way he held her gaze did something unfair to her chest. "I'm okay," she said, because poor people learned to say that even when they were not. Damian glanced at Eli's sketchbook on the floor. "He draws." Eli looked up. "Yes, sir." Damian crouched, careful, like he didn't want to scare him. "Can I see?" Eli slid the book forward proudly. Damian flipped through pages of cars, houses, superheroes, then stopped. A drawing showed a tall man in a suit, standing alone under a dark sky. Damian swallowed. "Who is this?" Eli blinked. "That's you." Damian froze. "Me." Eli nodded. "You look lonely." Amara's breath caught. "Eli." "It's okay," Damian said quickly, but his voice sounded strained. He stared at the drawing like it had reached into his ribs. "Why did you draw me lonely?" Eli shrugged. "Because when you walked past us this morning, you looked like you were carrying something heavy." Damian stood slowly. "You're a smart boy," he murmured, then looked at Amara. "How old is he?" Amara's mouth went dry. 5, she said. Damian's eyes narrowed, like numbers were suddenly sharp. 5, he repeated softly, and something flickered behind his eyes, but he pushed it down. "Would you allow me to take you both to dinner?" Amara stiffened. "No." Damian didn't blink. "Why?" "Because you don't know me," she said, voice trembling with the fear she refused to show. "And I don't know you. And men like you don't wake up and suddenly care about cleaners unless you want something." Damian's face tightened. "I don't want to use you." Amara's eyes burned. "Then don't pull me into your life." Damian stepped closer, voice rough. "I can't explain it. I see you and I feel like I've been looking at the wrong places for years." Amara's pulse kicked. "Stop talking like that." "Like what?" Damian asked, desperate. "Like you're allowed to hope," she snapped, because if he gave her hope, she might start believing again. Damian inhaled slowly, then nodded once, controlled. "Okay," he said. "No dinner, but at least let me drive you home. It's late." Amara hesitated. "I can take a bus." Damian's voice dropped. "I don't want my staff riding home unsafe at night. Let me do this one thing." She hated how reasonable he sounded. She hated how Eli's eyes lit up at the thought of a car ride. She nodded once stiff. "Fine, just drop us at the junction." In the car, Eli talked happily about cartoons and school, and Damian listened like every word mattered. Amara stayed quiet, watching Damian's hands on the steering wheel, remembering hands that had held her gently in another life. When they reached her street, Damian's gaze swept the crumbling buildings, the flickering streetlight, the reality she lived in. "This is where you live?" he asked softly. Amara's pride rose. "Yes." Damian swallowed. "You deserve better." Amara's laugh was tired. "People like me don't get better, we build it." Damian looked at her then, eyes intense. "Then let me help you build." Amara's voice sharpened. "No." Damian exhaled, fighting frustration. "Why are you so afraid of me?" Amara stared out the window, whispering the truth she never said. "Because you feel familiar." Damian went still. "Familiar." Amara's heart jumped into her throat. She forced it back down. "Forget it," she said quickly. "Good night." She got out with Eli and shut the door, but Damian didn't drive off right away. He sat there like the night had tied him to her street. The next week, rumors spread through the building like smoke. "The CEO is interested in the cleaner." Heads turned. Smiles sharpened. Then Celeste arrived. Amara was pushing her cart when she heard heels click like warning bells. She looked up and saw Celeste Vance in a fitted dress, eyes cold, lips curved like a threat. "You," Celeste said, slow. "So this is the distraction." Amara tried to move past her. Celeste stepped in front. "How much is he paying you?" Amara's hands clenched. "I'm not doing anything." Celeste smiled wider. "You're existing near him, that's enough." Her gaze slid to Eli, who stood behind Amara. "And you brought a child into it. How strategic." Amara's chest tightened. "Leave my son out of your mouth." Celeste's eyes flashed. "Or what?" Damian's voice cut through the lobby like a blade. "Or you will leave this building." Celeste turned, startled for the first time. "Damian." "I said leave," Damian repeated, walking toward them. "You don't threaten my staff." Celeste's laugh was tight. "Your staff?" She looked at Amara like she wanted to burn her. "Fine, but don't pretend you're not making a mistake." After Celeste left, Amara's legs shook. Damian turned to her, voice low. "Did she say anything to you?" Amara swallowed hard. "Nothing that matters." "It matters," Damian said fiercely. "You matter." If you're feeling the tension rising, family, don't forget to like this video right now, subscribe to Fiction Stories TV, and comment below what you think Celeste is planning. Because the next step she takes will force the truth out into the open. That night, Damian couldn't sleep. The number kept echoing, 5. He opened a locked drawer in his home and pulled out an old file, years of dead-end searches. He stared at a printed report that said the hotel corridor footage was corrupted. He hadn't believed it then. He believed it even less now. He drove to his mother's house unannounced. Mrs. Kingsley looked up from her couch, displeased. "It's midnight." Damian stood rigid. "What did you do with the footage from the charity ball?" His mother's eyes didn't blink. "You're still on that." "Yes," Damian said, voice shaking with something like rage. "Because I'm not crazy. Someone erased it." Mrs. Kingsley set down her teacup gently. "You were going to destroy everything for a masked nobody." Damian's stomach dropped. "So it was you." His mother's smile was thin. "I protected you." "You protected the company," Damian snapped. "Not me." "I protected your future," she insisted. "Celeste was the deal, the stability." Damian's voice cracked. "You stole something from me." Mrs. Kingsley leaned in. "You think that girl loved you. She would have sold your name for money the next morning." Damian's eyes burned. "You don't know her." His mother's gaze hardened. "I know poverty, and I know ambition." Damian's hands clenched. "Where is it?" he demanded. "The mask, the footage, whatever you took." His mother's expression shifted, a fraction too slow. Damian saw it. He moved past her, storming toward her private study, pulling open drawers until he found a small box in a safe. Inside was a cheap plastic mask, the ribbon still intact. Damian's breath left him like a wound. "You kept it," he whispered, devastated. "You kept it like a trophy." Mrs. Kingsley stood behind him, voice cold. "Throw it away, choose your real life." Damian turned, mask in his hand, and for the first time his voice became calm in a terrifying way. "My real life," he said, "is the one I choose." He left with the mask. The next morning, Damian waited near the supply closet until Amara arrived. He stepped in front of her cart, eyes intense, holding the mask up between them. Amara froze, the world tilted. Damian's voice shook. "I found it," he whispered. "This was yours." Amara's hands went cold. "I don't know what you're talking about." Damian's eyes searched her face, brutal and gentle at the same time. "Stop," he pleaded. "Please, I've been chasing a ghost for years. Don't make me chase you too." Amara's throat burned. "Sir." "Damian," he corrected softly. "Say my name." Amara's lips parted, and the memory broke through her like water through a wall. "Damian," she whispered, and the sound of it felt like falling. Damian flinched like he'd been punched by truth. "You remember." Amara's eyes filled. "I tried not to." "Why did you leave?" Damian demanded, voice cracking. I woke up and you were gone. My phone was gone. Your mask was gone. I thought you were stolen from me." Amara laughed through tears. "I was scared," she admitted, voice shaking. "I saw your mother, I saw her face. I knew you were someone powerful and I was nothing." "You were never nothing," Damian snapped. "Never." Amara's chest rose and fell fast. "I got pregnant." The words dropped like thunder. Damian went still, as if his body forgot how to breathe. "What did you just say?" Amara's tears spilled freely now. "I got pregnant after that night. I searched. I tried. I couldn't find you. And then life was already hard, so I decided I would raise the baby myself." Damian's eyes widened, raw pain flashing. "Eli," he whispered, the name coming out like a prayer. He's mine." Amara shook her head fast. "You don't get to say that," she cried. "You didn't carry him. You didn't watch him burn with fever while you begged God for mercy. You didn't hear people call him fatherless. You didn't." Damian stepped closer, eyes wet. "I didn't know," he said, voice breaking. "I swear I didn't know." Amara clenched her fists. "Even if you didn't know, he's my son. I won't let your world destroy him." Damian's voice turned fierce. "Then let me protect him from my world," he pleaded. "Let me protect both of you." Amara's body trembled. "Why should I trust you?" Damian swallowed hard. "Because I've been searching for you since that night," he whispered. "I didn't know your face, didn't know your name, but I knew your soul. And then you walked into my building with my child, and I didn't even recognize my own miracle." Amara covered her mouth, sobbing. Damian lowered himself slowly, kneeling in front of her, not like a billionaire, but like a man begging for a chance. "I can't rewrite the past," he said, "but I can show up now. Please, let me show up." Amara's voice cracked. "Eli doesn't need a man who appears because of guilt." Damian shook his head. "It's not guilt," he whispered. "It's love. I loved you that night. I've loved the memory ever since. And I'm falling again now in real life with no masks." Amara's tears fell harder because she had dreamed of those words and hated herself for it. "And Celeste," she whispered. Damian's jaw tightened. "There is no Celeste," he said firmly. "Not after today." That evening, Damian ended the engagement publicly, taking the scandal like a storm and standing tall through it. His mother tried to threaten him, the board tried to pressure him, headlines screamed, but Damian didn't flinch. For the first time in his life, he chose himself. Amara didn't give in immediately. She made him earn it. She watched how he treated Eli with patience, how he sat on the floor and let Eli draw on his expensive tablet, how he showed up at school events quietly, how he listened when Amara spoke, how he apologized without pride. He didn't try to buy her forgiveness. He tried to become worthy of it. One night, Eli fell asleep on Damian's chest while they watched cartoons, and Damian didn't move for an hour because he was afraid to disturb the small weight of belonging. Amara stood by the doorway, arms folded, heart trembling. Damian looked up at her and whispered, "I don't want to lose you again." Amara's voice softened, terrified and honest. "Then don't." Damian stood, walked to her slowly, and held her face like he had in another life. "Marry me," he whispered. "Not because I'm rich, not because of the past. Marry me because I love you now and I want to spend my whole life proving it." Amara's tears spilled. "You're sure?" Damian nodded. "I'm sure. I'm finally sure of something." Amara breathed out a shaky laugh, the kind that came after years of holding her breath. "Okay," she whispered, "but you hurt my son and I will destroy you." Damian smiled through tears. "Fair," he murmured. "I deserve that." They married quietly, not in a ballroom full of cameras, but in a small garden under soft lights, where Eli carried the rings with a proud grin. Amara walked toward Damian with no mask this time, face uncovered, heart open. Damian took her hands, eyes shining, and whispered, "I found you." Amara smiled, crying, "You never stopped looking." And when Damian kissed her, it wasn't an escape. It was home. Family, if this story touched your heart, please subscribe to Fiction Stories TV, like this video, and comment your favorite moment. Was it the mask reveal, the pregnancy confession, or Damian choosing Amara over his entire world? Share this story with someone you care about, and turn on your notifications so you never miss a new emotional reunion. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.